Hello and welcome to the video. It's another one of these. This gentleman is Andy. I'm sure if you've been watching the channel for a while, you'll know who this chap is. He's one of the Ardupilot developers based here in the UK, up in Bonnie, Scotland, no less. Now, this video has been 6 months in the making. Yep, 6 months. It's all about this thing here. I'm sure we'll get to see Andy's version. He's gone through several in the last 6 months. But the initial work and that Andy and I started and collaborated on was to optimize the VTOL setup for the HEEWING Ranger back when it was only available as a model that you put your own flight controller in, subsequently available now as a PMP with their own flight controller. And we thought that would be a couple of weeks work. I think that's about what we thought, wasn't it, Andy?
Something like that. Although I was learning, so I knew it would take a little while.
So here we are 6 months later, and we're now at the point where we have tunes for the HEEWING Ranger that is fantastic, and an awful lot of water has gone under this particular bridge in the last 6 months. I have been updating my Patreons regularly in their live stream updates every month on what's been going on with this, and it's felt like one of those things, you know, when you were a kid, Christmas always seemed to be coming, never seemed to arrive, but it actually has. So this video is a little bit about what's been going on and why did it take 6 months to tune a little hobby grade VTOL, and also then to link to the files below for those improved tunes. It now appears that HEEWING have already started shipping and sending the improved tune setup files to customers that are experiencing problems, and it appears to be the work of this chap here. So a massive thank you. So they've already kind of sneaked it out, but we're going to put links below to those settings. So if you have one of these HEEWING VTOL Ranger T1 things, then you know what? You can try it yourself. It will dramatically improve how it flies. Let me just insert a little bit of video that Andy shot from his testing here, and you can see buttery smooth is how I would describe this, not only in the hover, but also in the transitions to and from forward flight, and forward flight is tuned as well. So the whole thing, all four elements, are tuned brilliantly, and a significant improvement over the standard tune that was set up by HEEWING out the box, or the stuff that the rest of us managed to figure out. Now, before I hand over to Andy and shut up, one last thing I need to do is give a massive thank you to 3DXR up there in Scotch Corner. They, back in March, were incredibly generous and actually helped ship some product up to Andy, basically a HEEWING and some flight controller stuff, so that we could start this journey together. I'll put a link down below to 3DXR, and Ben and the team up there, fantastic. If you have RC needs in Europe or anywhere around the world, really, go and check out that website. I'm kind of disappointed I keep talking about them, because all the stuff that I used to use them for, because they always have it in stock, they sell out more often now, because now more people know about them. Let's talk about, Andy, if I can hand over to you, do you want to kind of give us a whistle-stop tour of what we've been doing for 6 whole months?
I can try. So, yeah, if you remember from the last update, a lot of what we talked about were the things that I did to get the VTOL tune working well, and in particular, the elimination of noise. And elimination of noise is usually what makes any kind of VTOL fly well copters not excluded from that. So for the HEEWING, the elimination of noise is essentially getting correct notch filter set up. And the best way to get correct notch filter set up is to use ESC telemetry for driving notches. And unfortunately, the ESCs that HEEWING ship don't support ESC telemetry. But there's a nice sort of little hack to get around that, which is that there's, and they used, part of the reason is they're using BLHES, which doesn't support ESC telemetry anyway. So the nice little hack is that you can use a sort of, a child of BLHES called Bluejay, which provides ESC RPM information over the motor signal wires. And so that was the sort of first thing I was able to do, was to eliminate noise in that way. And that was one of the reasons I could get a decent tune. The next thing I was also able to do was use auto tune. And there's a couple of different ways of tuning VTOLs. There's a quick tune script, and then there's auto tune as well. One of the reasons I used auto tune was auto tune also tunes angle P, which is basically, I won't get into the details, but it's what allows the VTOL to maintain position in the wind. So when you see things blowing all over the place, that's usually a combination of noise and a poor angle P tune. And so I made some changes to the way that you ran auto tune to get that good tune. I then you probably remember from the videos, but then was trying fixed wing flight and transitions, and it was enormously sketchy, like really close to losing aircraft. The thing was shaking all over the place, and I was amazed that the crash I did have was nothing to do with that. The crash I did have was to do with my inability to fly fixed wing, but I've sort of fixed that now. So I sort of then embarked on a mission to trying to find out what was going on there, and put in a change to fix that. Now subsequent iterations of that have shown that change, although I think is a good change, is not strictly necessary, because the basic problem is that if you have a crap fixed wing tune and a great VTOL tune, they interact very, very badly, and the reason for that is that fixed wing control is all driven by feed forward. So, when you make changes to your sticks, that drives the servos directly rather than through sort of assessing errors and so on. So that's how fixed wings work. And if that feed forward term is too high, it basically can drive oscillation in the VTOL tune. So what I basically discovered was if you get a good fixed wing tune, and the one that HEEWING was shipping was not good, if you get a good fixed wing tune, then actually that works really well with a good VTOL tune, and suddenly you've got something that works much, much better. So, one of the key things I did was doing auto tune of the fixed wing side of things, which just made things much, much, much better.
So as part of this, you did find a number of things in the code as you were going through this journey. Sorry to use the J word for all of you Strictly Come Dancing fans. But through the journey, you found a couple of things, namely that the way that the P term was being calculated for for the auto tune was incorrect. Even though it was set as a tilt rotor, it wasn't tuning it like a tilt rotor. Then we also had issues, absolutely right, where part of the feed forward for the fixed wing element was bleeding over into the multi-rotor, and they needed to be separate tunes in order to work properly. The only reason that we can make this video now, and the reason it's taken 6 months, is because Ardupilot 4.4's come out, and Ardupilot 4.4 includes most of the stuff that you found and you and the team fixed specifically around tilt rotor VTOL craft performance, wasn't it?
With hindsight, you could probably get similar performance on 4.3 if you tuned on 4.4. So a lot of these changes is to allow you to get a good tune. But once you had the good tune, you could then probably use that good tune on an older version, and then that would work quite well. There is a particular fix in 4.3 that would be utterly essential to things working well. So I don't think 4.2 would work, but I think 4.3 might. But I don't want to go back. So
no, I would recommend if you're going to do this, bite the bullet and go to 4.4. It's got a lot of extra things in it. So to summarise where we are now, having gone through all this and flashing ESCs, various crashes, lots of flight controllers been updated, custom firmware been written, patches to the code being created and tested, and then put in the flight controller, and all that cycling through for a whole 6 months. Then 4.4 comes out, we hear. So what does that mean? Well, now it actually means that we have a tune that is pretty solid. And I'm still not saying completely solid. I'd like to, pretty solid for the HEEWING Ranger VTOL. What we're going to do is put links below for the PARAM files, just for the pieces that you need to change in terms of your filter settings and your PID settings for both the multi-rotor and the fixed wing elements. And what Andy and I are going to try and do is have those PARAM files for both the F405 VTOL flight controller that I put in mine, that lots of you followed along with. That might take a week or two to get in, but keep checking the description down below. That'll be there. The second one then is Andy actually used a H743 flight controller as part of the testing. We needed to use that to run the auto tune stuff. So that means there's also a tune available for that flight controller and that particular setup. So that'll be in the list as well. And finally, there is a tune that's set up for the PNP version of the HEEWING VTOL, and that is the one that comes with their own flight controller. And those three, although they will be very, very similar, there will be a couple of key differences. Because in theory, the harmonics and the vibration and all those things that the filters are designed to remove should be similar, but depending on the weight of the model and how the flight controller is mounted and everything. But by downloading those parameters and putting them on your model, you should get an awful lot closer. And I think that's what HEEWING has been doing. But speaking about HEEWING, though, as part of this journey, because I think HEEWING had an education, I think it's fair to say, in what it takes to properly set up a VTOL aircraft. HEEWING actually has become an official partner with the Ardupilot stuff now, haven't they?
Yeah, so they've joined the partner program, and I've been supporting them via the partner program as well as sort of independently. I think that's credit to your relationship with them, Lee, but it makes sense for them and both for us to, in some ways, if they'd come and spoken to us much earlier, lots of these problems could have been avoided. But here we are. I did just want to say something about the HEEWING plug and play flight controller. It is really important that people upgrade to Ardupilot 4.4 for that, because there are ones shipping with old wrong firmware that won't work very well. And if you want to take the advantage of the tune, then you definitely need to upgrade to 4.4, because 4.4 is the first version that ships with support for that, first official version that ships with support for that flight controller.
Great point, Andy. Thanks for reminding us about that, because not only was the Ardupilot team working with HEEWING to create these tunes that give a robust hover, a robust forward flight, and a robust transition to and from hover, it also went the other way. So amazingly, because I've been sat on the sidelines, right? I am not a code expert, but I've been kind of monitoring what's been going on. It looks like HEEWING are developing another version of the flight controller, an improved version of the flight controller based on the recommendations from the Ardupilot developers. And I'm not letting any cats out of any bags here, because it's actually in the 4.4 release notes. It actually says the two hardware platforms that are supported, one being the V1 and one being the V2, which doesn't exist yet, or I haven't seen it in the wild. So it was great. And they've added things like logging and some other improvements as well. So by HEEWING being part of this project, there has been a much closer working relationship, and it makes me very happy because the project gets some money from vendors when they join up and become a partner, which is vital to keep the project running. But crucially, it's something that I see a lot of other hobby grade VTOL manufacturers not doing. So if you are one of those other hobby grade manufacturers and you're watching this video, you should feel ashamed if you are selling products that are VTOL, that are based on Ardupilot technology and Ardupilot code. Get your checkbook out and join the partner program. Party political broadcast over. I'm very passionate about that. But having seen the benefits firsthand to both the project and to HEEWING directly, for the amount of money that they've paid to become a partner, it is fractional compared to how good this thing flies now. Now, in terms of moving forward, Andy and I have a lot of things that we have planned, so do make sure you're subscribed to this channel and also go and subscribe to Andy's as well. I'll put links down below to all his stuff. We have a couple of other videos coming. I'm going to do another video where we're going to update these PARAM files. I'm actually going to update my very own VTOL here with 4.4 of Ardupilot and put the PARAM file on, show you how to do that. There's also going to be a video, I think, where I'll show you how to update to Bluejay. Bluejay is what you should be using, I think, on multi-rotor style ESCs these days. It's the live, actively developed successor to BLHeliS. BLHeliS is kind of a legacy thing now, so you should be biting the bullet and doing that. And then we'll probably do another one where I'll do a full flight review of how I set mine up and how my Ranger is flying. But I need to give a massive thank you to Andy, 3DXR, HEEWING, and the rest of the Ardupilot development team for all the hard work over the past 6 months to get us to this point where we have a stable tune that is not just optimized for one little bit, but optimized for the whole flight system of this HEEWING VTOL. And hopefully you've got a sense from this video of how much work and effort it takes to get an optimized tune. I do hope now, as I said before, that other VTOL manufacturers will be linked to this video and realize that they need to actually play the game a little bit more. The benefits outweigh the $1,000 or whatever it costs to join the partner program. It's a small hill of beans in relation to it. It now means that, you know, all those people that get in touch with me talking about their VTOL flies terribly, I'm just going to link them to this video and just say, get a HEEWING, because the flight performance of this, from the videos that I've seen of Andy flying it, is better than some models costing 4, 5, 6 times what a HEEWING VTOL PMP will cost you.
Yeah,
so
I was just going to say, I did an auto mission with a friend and he said, that's the coolest thing I've seen all year. I mean, it really is amazing. And can I just give my own shout out? I should really say thank you to, in particular, Leonard Hall and Andrew Tridgell, who really helped me with the tuning aspect of this. Their expertise has been completely invaluable to getting where we've got to now.
Quite right. It has. There's been lots of people involved in this to get to this point. You know, lots of people talk to me about, oh, iNav is getting VTOL support when in version 7. Are you going to be flying VTOLs with it? Bearing in mind, Ardupilot has been flying VTOLs for 5 years, maybe quite longer.
Yeah.
And we're still finding bugs in the code that need to be fixed and optimized, even after all the thousands of pilots and the hundreds of thousands of flight hours that have gone through VTOL systems running Ardupilot. Hopefully it gives you a sense of how much effort and how much energy and expertise goes in to create a system that can hover, fly, and transition between the two successfully every single time. It is non-trivial. And then to set it up for the tune and also the filtering, because those two go hand in hand. You cannot tune without filtering out all the oscillations and noise that the flight controller's hearing. It's not a 2-second job. Hopefully now moving forward with Ardupilot 4.4, it will be easier. And by using technology like Bluejay, being able to tune it will be easier. And who knows, maybe around Christmas time, we can do a video and talk you through the steps of how you can tune your own version. But for now, I think we'll draw a line under it there. I will go and pour myself a large brandy and light some kind of tobacco product and actually just take 5 minutes, because after 6 months, we've now finally achieved what I asked if we could do naively back in March. So thank you, Andrew. Thank you to everybody. Links down below to everything we're talking about. Stay tuned for the other videos. And if you're a Ranger pilot, I will be keeping posted everything on there, on the feed for the channel. So do stay tuned. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching the video. If you watch my videos and find them useful, then please take a moment to hit the like and subscribe button. It helps the channel a lot. If you really like what I'm doing here, you can become a Patreon and support the time I spend helping others and get access to lots of exclusive benefits. Link is in the video description. Remember that all the videos on the channel are organized into playlists, so you can easily use those playlists to find all the videos on a subject that you are interested in. Add Painless 360 to your searches on Google and YouTube, and it'll help you find my content for any particular topic. Thanks again for watching, and as always, happy flying.